said the great pitcher simply. "My speed's gone. I strained my arm the last game. You'd better put Poke in. He's left-handed, and his speed will likely fool Columbus after my floaters. But say, I won't go out till I get a chance to get after Silk. He needs a little jacking up. He wouldn't give me the corners. I'll make him sick. And fellows, don't quit." "Oh, we're licked, we're licked!" cried Mac. Any one to have seen his face would have known how hard he had worked and what the pennant meant to him. But his players evidently were not of the same mind. They were mostly silent, with knitted brows and compressed lips. Mittie Maru never wavered in his crisp, curt encouragement. "What do we care for 5 runs? A couple of bingos and Ward's in the air. We can win with 2 out in the ninth, and here we got enough time left to win 2 games. Stick at 'em. Don't quit. Keep the yellow down. We'll put this game on ice all right, all right." Cas slowly walked up to the plate. The great crowd had not hope enough to cheer. When the umpire called the first ball, which was pretty well up to Cas's chin, a strike, the crowd yelled. Cas turned square round and glared at Silk. That worthy called another strike while Cas's back was turned to the pitcher. He did right, of course, but the crowd did not know it or think so, and they yelled louder. Cas made no effort to hit the next ball, which was also a strike. "Out!" called Silk, adjusting his indicator. Cas turned upon the umpire. No tragedian ever put forth a greater effect of outraged scorn and injustice. "What?" he roared in a voice that penetrated the remotest corners of the field. "3 strikes and out," repeated Silk. "It was wide," yelled Cas grandly. "Batter up!" called Silk. "Say, haven't I a right to speak a word?" demanded Cas. He deliberately walked up to Silk. It was Cas's ruse, a trick as old as baseball, to make a fierce stand in order to influence the umpire on future close decisions. Poor umpires! Theirs was the thankless task, the difficult task, and they were only human. "You're way off today, Silk," went on Cas. "You're rotten. You wouldn't give me the corners, but you give them to Ward." "Back to the bench," ordered Silk. "Can't I say a word?" "Not to me." "You're rotten. Costs you 25. Ha! Now you're goin' some. Queered my pitching, struck me out, and now you fine me. We've got a grand show with you callin' the plays. Make it 50, you robber." "50 it is," replied Silk. "Put me out of the game. You're from Columbus. Go ahead, put me out of the game." "Out you go!" shouted Silk. The crowd heard and rose with a roar of rage. Cas was their idol, and they were with him to a man. They stamped, yelled, and hissed their disapproval. It began to be a tight place for Silk, and he knew it. Right was on his side, but under trying circumstances such as these, right did not always triumph. "Put me off the grounds!" bawled Cas. "Off you go!" yelled Silk, white in the face. Then Cas showed his understanding of the crowd and the serious nature of the situation. He had turned his trick, now to avert real disaster. It would not have been wise for an umpire to call the game in the face of that angry grandstand and crazy bleachers. Not one umpire in 100 would have had the nerve. But it was evident that Cas thought Silk might, for he was not afraid of anything. So Cas waved his long arms to the crowds, motioning them to sit down. "All right, Silk, out for mine." Cas ran for the bench and grabbed his sweater. He shook his big fist in Poke's face. "Now, Rube, at 'em, fast and over the pan. Mittie, you roast this bunch of deaders back to life." Mac was sitting with his head bowed in his hands. At Cas's last words he raised a heartbroken face and began to rail at the umpire, at Cas for having a glass arm, and at all the players. When Enoch got hit by a pitched ball and thereby sent to his base with Thatcher up, Mac senselessly yelled to him and tried to start a hit and run game, which he had a few moments before discarded. Enoch and Thatcher got confused, and finally when Thatcher hit into second both were easy outs in a double play. Then the players, sore and disgusted, told Mac a few things. The little manager looked sick. "I'm running this team," he howled. Chase suddenly confronted him with blazing eyes. "No, you're not runnin' the team. You're queerin' our chances. You've lost your head. Go soak it. Climb under the bench. Crawl through the fence. Anything, only get out." Mac fell back a beaten man. His eyes bulged, his lips moved, but no sound came forth. It was plain that he could not believe what he had heard. Chase, his find, his idol, his star, had risen against him. "We'll win this game yet. Go hide somewhere, so we can't see your face. Mittie will run the team." "Mittie?" echoed Mac. Then a spark of Chase's inspiration touched his smoldering baseball sense. Managers and players often do strange things. They follow blind leads and believe in queer omens. They are as superstitious as Indians. Without a word Mac yielded to his impulse and left the bench. Mittie Maru jumped up into the vacated seat. A glow lighted his pale face. His beautiful eyes had a piercing, steely flash. "Rube," he said to Poke, "cut the inside corner. Keep 'em high and speed 'em up." The big knots stood out and rippled on the rail splitter's arms. He was not lost to his opportunity. And there were friends and admirers from his native town there to see him, to glory in his glory. He struck out 3 successive Columbus hitters, and the hopeless crowd took a little heart. "What'll I do, Mittie?" asked Chase, picking out his bat. "They're playing deep for you. Dump one down third." Chase placed a slow teasing bunt down the third base line and raced with all his speed for first. The play was not even close. It was his third hit. Havil looked at Mittie. The manager said, "Bunt towards first." The second ball pitched, Havil laid down as if by hand along the first base line. 2 on bases, no one out. The crowd awoke. "Now for mine, Mittie," asked Benny. "We'll try a double steal. It's not good baseball, but we'll try it. Swing wild on the ball and balk the catcher. If the play goes through, just tap the next ball down in the infield." Benny fell all over himself and all over the catcher. Chase dove into third and Havil reached second. The bleachers began to yell and stamp. As Ward got into motion with his swing, Chase started home. It happened that the ball was a slow one, and Chase seemed to be beating it to the plate. Everybody gasped. Then Benny tapped the ball in the infield and broke for first. The play bewildered the pitcher, catcher, and third baseman. Chase scored. Havil went to third, and Benny reached first. Then the shrill cries, the whistles, the tin horns and clapping hands showed that the crowd had awakened fully to possibilities. Ford hit into deep short, who threw to second to catch Benny. The play was a close one, and Silk's decision favored the runner. Havil scored. 2 runs scored, 2 men on bases, and nobody out. Roar on roar. Through it all the little ragged hunchback sat coldly impervious. His fire raged deep. The years of pain and hopeless longing, the boyish hopes never to be fulfilled, had their recompense in that hour of glory. To a man the players now believed in him. As boy, as manager, as genius, as baseball luck. Spear bunted better than he hit, a fact of which Mittie took advantage. "Lay one down to Wilson." Wilson divined the play, came rushing in, picked up the bunt with one hand, and made a splendid throw. 1 out, runners on second and third. Hicks was a poor hitter in a pinch, another fact Mittie remembered. "Work a base on balls. Work hard now." The contortions old man Hicks went through would have disconcerted most pitchers. Ward threw 3 balls for Hicks, then 2 strikes, and the next one straight over, seemed a little high. Everybody gasped again. "4 balls," called Silk. The crowd broke out afresh. 1 out, 3 runners on bases. Ziegler, batting for Castorious, hit a mean, twisting grounder between short and third. Both men went after it, knocked it down between them, but too late to catch the hitter. Another run scored, and bases full. How the bleachers screamed! "Bing one, Cap," said Mittie from the heights. Enoch met the first ball squarely. It sailed fast and true into the second baseman's hands. The runners had no chance to move. Oh, hard luck!